So I've got a new Ron Ranson height brush, this one, large. It's always nice to get a new brush. I always leave it too long and the edges become all frayed and can't get a proper edge. So it's nice to unwrap a new one. Now this one, we've got like a winter scene now, but in the lakes and mountains. So I'm going to try and use sort of winter colours. I did go. Let's go into a bit of blue. Now I'm constantly looking at the reference photograph. Patrons will be able to see the reference photograph. Members over on patreon.com/Stephen Craig. If you just join me over there, that's where I post all the reference material. And while I've got that colour on the brush, and I'm just keeping just a slight gap. I'm just pulling down the reflections of those trees going up the mountainside. And that's all it needs, just fading off into the background, very, very, very soft. And then in front of those, now it is a winter scene, so I do really want to restrict the palette. Putting just a hint of green in there, just a hint of yellow, not too much. But I want this really, really strong now so that it contrasts nicely against the background. So sort of starting about here, I'll just sort of flick up like that. So you get these like trees, just automatic, just flick, just hold it sort of like that and just flick up like that, almost like chopsticks. Taking that up. Something like so. And then just pulling down the reflections. As I go along. And then all these white bits here, they will be little bits of snow on the landscape. The image, the photograph looks to be in black and white, so I've got a bit of freedom to choose what colours. I mean, to be honest, I'll choose what colours I want anyway most of the time. But obviously with a black and white image, you're just sort of concentrating on the tones really. But what I'm going to do, just add a little bit of, this is just a bit of raw sienna and burnt umber, just add a little bit of colour in there, and then just leave plenty of the white to represent the snow, a little bit more blue to darken it a little bit, down by the water's edge. Get some sort of water line down there. Just a little flick, just something growing down by the water's edge. That's all I need to do for that. Now looking over on the left hand side, I need to do the same thing with the trees again. So let's clean the brush, and I want a nice dark colour. So similar to that, but the paper has dried a little bit, so this will probably go on a little bit stronger. I'm just going to take a little bit of raw sienna, burnt umber, just a little bit of cad yellow, ultramarine, just a general dark mix really. almost like a very, very dark green, very, very dark. I'm going to do the same thing. You know, it's sort of on about a level, so I'm just going to start off up there. And then this time what I'll do, just get a nice chisel edge and just pop in some of these treetops, get it straight. And then you just use the brush just to pull down the branches like that. Just leave the top pointy, and then just below the top, just use the corner of the brush just to suggest those trees down there. And let's bring them right the way down. And we'll sort of level. Something like that. I'm just going to pull down these reflections. Okay, and just pop the water line in. Just little dips and dabs here, just like little things just floating on the water. Not too much, just give a hint of something that's there. Don't want to go balmy. Now what I can't resist is just scraping a few little rocks here and there. Before I do that, I just need to make sure to get the paper flat. If you're using thicker paper, this is £130. It's a little bit light really. I might start experimenting with thicker paper. But I can't resist, just while it's still wet, just scrape a few little rocks in there like that. And then just a hint of some sort of reflection. What I might also do, a bit of fingernail, a few trunks as well. Not too much. Should have done the same when it's dry now. Just about see it. And then I'm struggling. It's not very clear. There is a little bit of foreground. So what I'm going to do is clean the brush again. I've got to look at this photo really carefully because I can just about see some sort of foreground there on the left hand side. So let's pop that in. So let's go a little bit of green. Start up there, I want this quite dark. Sort of coming out. a little bit of land there, just flick up down the bottom. Now I've bought this new rigger brush, so I'm going to use it. Got this from Art Discounts. It's number 3, Winsor & Newton Professional Watercolour Sable Rigger. Needed a new rigger brush for absolutely ages. I've been faffing around with this old rubbish. So I'm just going to flick. Just a little bit of rigger work. Just have something down there like that. Also, possibly just have a little bit of. I don't want to do too much because it's. I've managed to keep this one quite light. I've often spoke briefly recently about a lot of my watercolours recently being very dark. So I've deliberately kept this one quite light and airy. Just remember not to leave that rigger in the water so that the hairs bend. Terrible for doing that. A little bit of snow on the ground, so I'm just going to scrape some of the. That's going to do for that. Don't overdo it. Now, the only thing I want to do now, I can't see one in the reference photograph, but I've got to have a little yacht, a little boat sailing off. So just take this little 1/4 inch, flat brush, or pretty much any brush. I used to use the rigger brush. Well, I do use the rigger brush, but I've just found it's just easy to do it with this, really. And all I do, where's the boat going to look nice? Maybe somewhere up there. I don't know if that's a lot dark enough, the background, for this to show up, to be honest. That background's not very dark. I don't know if I'll get away with it. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. And now I've overdone it, and I might be better off doing it in a darker colour rather than do it white. I'm just going to pretend that's something else. Just blend that out. Oh, that's something else, ignore that. And I'm just going to brush it in. I'll need to mix quite a similar background colour to what I've already used. Well, just something generally light, I think. Plenty of water. And I'm going to go somewhere. So I'm just going to go about there, I think. And then just some sort of reflection down below. I think I've done that miles too big. Let's get the hair dried on that. I just quickly want to see. Or just a quick dab. I don't think I need the hairdryer. I'm trying to avoid it. I know a lot of people does their heads in. Well, I need to be a little bit more prominent actually. that might be too. Again, just a quick dab, just to lighten it off a little bit. Oh, stop faffing about there. I think you can tell there's a yacht there. I'll just take the zero rigger. We can have a little bird. One there. Another one there. Well, I'm just going to finish it off. I'm just going to sign this one down in the corner. And call that one finished. So let's put a mount on that now and see what it looks like. There's the painting in the mount, and I'm going to pick a few faults in this one. First of all, personally, it was too slow and deliberate rather than fast and loose, the way I normally like to paint, and I don't find it very exciting. I think I focused on the reference photograph just too much. Let me know what you think, members, patrons, when you're looking at the reference photograph. The boat should be above that waterline there. I brought it it's way too close. It should be a lot more distant. I was going to put it there. Now it would have been, if I'd have just put a little bit, somewhere a little bit darker along that waterline, I could have then just done what I normally do and just took the paint off and created like a white sail in the distance. But I've done it a sort of a funny way, really. You may have noticed this area from there down was just completely empty. The tree was floating in the air, so I've filled that in and put a little reflection in just so it didn't look silly. And again, from the reference photograph, this should be darker, really. A lot bit darker, just to contrast better against the background. But as always, plenty of lessons to learn. Always something to take forward to the next painting. Managed to keep a bit of white snow there. The temptation to paint over it is always huge. Same on the right hand side. That unpainted bit of paper represents the snow. Put a bit of burnt umber on there as well. Not quite sure whether it works. Maybe a little bit of reflection as well that's missing from that colour. So all in all, a few lessons to learn for the next painting, but I hope you learned something from that. Thanks as always for watching. Do join me over at patreon.com/StephenCroney if you haven't already. You'll be very, very appreciated. Catch all the reference photographs as well. Loads of members only videos. So until next time, keep practicing. Happy painting, and I'll see you again shortly.